All right, okay. Well, it looks like we're live on YouTube, but yet to be live on Facebook. It doesn't matter. Welcome to Shoot the Defence on FNX, brought to you by My Sportswear Youth Energy and Save Association. I'm your host, Stel, and my co-hosts, as ever, are Yannikis and Rodri Giggs. Gents, welcome back. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Good to be back.
Great to have you back.
Thank you.
And great to have Rodri back, even though he's in London. What are you doing in London?
Just seeing family.
Catching a cold by the sound of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's had me out gardening today, so.
All right, there you go. See, the Northerners come down south and they get ill. There you go.
Yeah,
that's what happens. There you go. Right, making his Shoot the Defence tonight is football agent Linton Posthumus. Linton, great to have you on. Hope I pronounced your surname correctly.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. And for those of you who don't know, Linton is the agent of Quinton Martinez, who we had on the show a while back, who plays for Yokohama Marinos. How's it going with the whole transfer deadline thing? Did that work out well for you?
Yeah, it closed in August already in Japan. And now we had some things going on until the 16th of September, because I can still sign some free players. So we still have some days, but I don't think it's going to happen much. But it was a good window for me.
Is it super busy every year or every window? Because we see it on the television how Sky Sports always jazz it up and have Harry Redknapp hanging out of the car windows and all that kind of stuff. And agents get a lot of bad press. What's it like for you on that side of the fence?
It is because like 9 out of 10 things don't work out. So you put a lot of pressure in deals who eventually don't work out or don't even make the media or things like that. So yeah, it is. It can be.
Fair enough. Rod, have you come across some agents in the past?
Yeah, I know a few agents. Yeah, I've come across a few in my past. Yeah, some slippery ones, some not so slippery ones.
There you go. Linton's legit, I promise.
I'm sure he is.
Great stuff. Well, James, before we discuss tonight's Champions League games, let's talk about some of the weekend's Premier League games, starting at the Etihad, where Man City thumped 10-man Liverpool 5-0. We spoke about this before the show, actually, and obviously many people believe the game changed when Sadio Mane got sent off. How did you react when you saw the challenge, and was the referee right to send him off?
This is such a difficult one. Everyone's got different opinions about this. I personally don't think it was a red card. Personally, I think Mane genuinely is going for the ball. His eyes are on the ball. He doesn't see Ederson coming out. Yes, his foot is high, and I can understand why the referee's given it, the letter on the law and all that. But I know it's but in hindsight, if Mane gets a toe to that ball, he's through and goal, empty goal, he scores a goal. Now, the fact that he misses it, catches Ederson's head's high as well. Yes, Mane's foot's high, but it's more of a collision. If that was a defender, would that be a red card?
Oh, you actually are asking.
Yeah, I'm asking.
You're asking me.
I'm asking you. Would that be a red card?
Probably, because it's dangerous play.
Is it dangerous play? Yes, his foot is up, but is he intentionally going to hurt a player? He's not. He's genuinely going for it. And if you look at, we've seen the replays. Mane's eyes are fixed on that football. He's not looking at anything else apart from getting a toe to that ball. Now, you could argue that Ederson's put his head into Mane's foot.
Okay, right.
You can argue with that.
Okay, since you're going hypothetically, you're driving and you accidentally run someone over and kill him. Right, are you not going to get done for that? You're not going to do time, even though it was accidental? You didn't mean it?
Different scenario.
No, but you said you didn't mean it.
No, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
But he still did it. It was dangerous play. And under the letter of the law, it's a red card.
That's where I can understand why it was given. Because, and if you look at the referee as well, he didn't send him off instantly. He looked at, the impact the challenge had, looked at the goalkeeper, and then decided to send him off.
You sure he didn't have a word in his ear?
That could be that as well. But I've seen a lot of referees nowadays that they'll look at the injury before they'll send the player off. So maybe Mustard even know himself if that was a red card or not.
Yeah, but if the goalkeeper's lying down with a pool of blood, I'm pretty sure it's quite severe. Did you see the cut on his face?
I did.
It looked like a tattoo. Well, he's got enough tattoos anyway, so
it did.
Make a difference.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I can understand why it was a sending off. I can understand it. But playing the game myself, and a lot of strikers maybe, looking at
He was
that
kung fu
incident.
fighting.
I disagree.
Bruce Lee would have been proud of that.
Possibly. I still disagree. I still don't think it was a red card.
Sadio Lee. Linton, what did you make of that incident?
Yeah, it's difficult because you see he doesn't have the intention to collide with the goalkeeper, but he goes for the ball. But it's dangerous play, and dangerous play is a red card. So yeah.
Would that be a red card in the Netherlands, in the Eredivisie?
Probably yes. I think yeah. I think so.
Yep. There you go. Rod, what do you make of it? Fair or unfair?
Yeah, it's a red card.
See?
No, but I understand where Jan's coming from because if I played strike as well, I'm going for the ball. So, but it's reckless. So it is a red card though.
There you go.
But you can see it from Jan's point. But it's dangerous, isn't it?
Okay.
You see the one against Swansea on Sunday.
Yeah.
The only difference there wasn't blood.
That's
so it was
right.
a yellow card.
Did he even touch him on Sunday though?
Well, he's seen it coming, but it's still nearly kicked his head off. If you didn't see, the defender was a bit more wary, where the keeper Edison, he's just come out full blooded, and there's the collision.
Yeah, and he collides with him like hard, and if you have the intentions or not, it's a foul and a red card. So I agree with that. I think we lost them.
Have they gone? Yeah. Hello.
We're having some technical problems.
Should we be the host for now?
Yeah, we can continue.
We have actually we've got the game. We've got the game plan. We've got the scripts. We're probably better than them too.
So we've questioned Liverpool's title credentials, citing their defensive fragilities as the main reason why they won't win the title. They did nothing on Sunday to prove us wrong, did they?
No, if they've seen, did you watch the game?
Yeah, I watched.
If the first 25 minutes, Liverpool absolutely give City the run around, and if it weren't for a couple of misplaced passes in the last third, Liverpool could have been 2 or 3-0. So, but I agree with you. We've talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool are very weak at the back, and that's why they won't win the league. But they'll be in the Champions League spot, but they just don't think they'll be good enough to win the league. Sorry, fellas. We've just taken over your job.
I don't even know what happened.
I don't know.
I legitimately don't know what happened. What actually happened? What have we missed?
No, Linton was saying about went on to about Liverpool's frailties and defensive frailties at the back.
Oh, so you heard it?
Just agree.
So you heard it? You heard my question?
No.
You
that
didn't?
Was just Linton
Wow.
No, that was just Linton going off his own back.
Remarkable.
They don't need that.
That's absolutely remarkable because that was actually going to be the next question I was going to ask you. Liverpool's defensive frailties. Tell me what have we missed? What have we missed?
Who, me?
Yeah, both of you.
You had the conversation.
I was going to get the cigars.
No, well, like Linton said, he said that basically that they won't be good enough to win the league because of the defensive frailties. That they were, even though they got beat 5-0 on Saturday, they still in the first 25 minutes before City scored, they were giving City the run around. So apart from a few placed passes in the last third. It could have been a different scoreline, but the defensive frailties are there to see on Saturday, even with 10 men.
That's right. Well, the thing is, Linton, were you surprised with how easy it was for City to just cut Liverpool open?
Of course, I was very surprised about the result after 90 minutes. 5-0 is a huge loss, and I think nobody expected this on forehand, especially after their good game against Arsenal last week. And like Roddy just said, they started quite strong, But in my opinion, the thing with Liverpool is they're strong as a team. So when Mane sent off, they were outnumbered and they weren't able to maintain their high pressing, and eventually their defensive line got exposed. So given with the quality City has up front, no, I weren't surprised that they took full advantage of this man-more situation.
And what's the general feeling about Jurgen Klopp in the Netherlands, Linton? Because I've always said that he isn't, while his teams are great going forward, they're very dynamic, they're fluid, very quick, the counter-attacking football is fantastic. When it comes to the defensive side of things, even with Dortmund, they were never really solid. Is this something that is something that is well known or well spoken about in the Netherlands?
Not particularly, because we like to play high up front, and we like to play attacking football, and we have Johan Cruyff, and if he says if you have the ball, you can't lose, so no, I don't think they criticize it.
Fair enough. Okay, so City are now joint top with United, who dropped points for the first time at a sunny but chilly Stoke. This is a cliche you've never heard before. A 2-2 draw was enough to put United ahead of City on goal difference. Mate, I don't think as United fans we can actually argue with the result, but I said this after the opening few games. When we play against teams that are better going forward, i.e. better than West Ham, better than Leicester, better than whoever we played so far, Swansea, they're going to get punished. And lo and behold, 2 big mistakes, 2 goals conceded.
I agree. I thought United defensively on Saturday were abysmal, if you want to ask me. Not good at all. Not good at all. Bailly had a shocker. Jones wasn't far off, to be honest. And Stoke, even though they didn't threaten a lot, every time they went forward, they looked threatening. They looked like they were about to do something. And but we know that with United, we know defensively they're going to be tested. They're not great at the back. I guess a point away at Stoke is not a bad result. The only kind of downfall is United went 2-1 up. If they hold the result for another 5-10 minutes, they can shut up shop and then maybe see the game out. The fact that Stoke got the equaliser so quick kind of swing the momentum. Lukaku had a great chance at the end to win it for United. On chances, United deserve to win, if you want to talk on chances. But overall, the game, Stoke deserved the point.
Absolutely. And Rod, Darren Fletcher had a superb game. Stoke would struggle without him if and when he's unavailable, won't they?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, though. And I even though I don't know Darren Fletcher, I know his agent. Talking about agents, I know his agent really well. And since he's left United, he's not really missed a game. He's probably missed 2 or 3 weeks in that 2-year period. So, we all know how good Darren Fletcher is when he's kept fit. He's a class player, and given time and space on the ball, he can open teams up, and he can dictate games. He's got the experience, and he's got the know-how to do that. So, yeah, if they did lose him, it'd be a big miss, because him and Joe Allen seem to work well.
That's right. And they seem to play this 5-man midfield that works really well for Stoke, especially in games against the big clubs. We saw against Arsenal, we saw against, obviously, United. The wide men like to get the ball. They've got people like Shaqiri who can create. They're not a bad team, are they, Stoke?
No, they're not a bad team. And, Mark Hughes is a top manager, and he'll get the best out of his players. So, Shaqiri, the big lad up front, they'll all keep the ball well. They protect the ball well. They keep the ball. And the threat going forward, and with, like I say, Fletcher and Allen dictating games, who can keep the ball and can play the right pass, they'll be a threat to anyone, especially at Britannia Stadium.
That's right. And Linton, Arsenal bounced back from their embarrassing defeat at Anfield to practically beat up Bournemouth 3-0. What do you make of what's going on at Arsenal at the moment, mate? Is much being said about them in the Netherlands?
Of course, Arsenal is always big news here in the Netherlands. We have the history with the Dutch players, Bergkamp, Van Persie, Overmars. So, Arsenal is always big news, but the whole Premier League is. So it's always in the media. And, it was a good win against Bournemouth, but I think the Arsenal fans are critical. So Bournemouth at home, they have to win. And I understand because I grew up with Arsenal being a top club. So next week Chelsea away. I think that's the real game where they have to bounce back, and they have the quality for that. They have Özil, Sanchez, the new signing Lacazette, Bellerin. So I hope Wenger is able to get things going this season.
What did you make of their loss the other week? Because it didn't seem like the Arsenal that everyone remembers or knows. It's just they just threw in the towel, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think it didn't only happen last week. I think it happened before last seasons. They had these off days, and maybe Arsene Wenger is there in charge for a long time now, and it seems that sometimes he cannot tactically adjust to an opponent in my from my point of view, and if you always do things like you've done, you'll get what you've got. So maybe it's time for a change.
A lot of fans are saying that. Don't know if they're going to get their wish though. But anyway.
In my opinion, not during the season, because he's in charge for how long? 19 years, 18 years. So he deserves, to complete the whole season and maybe a change in the summer. But eventually, in 1 or 2 years, it has to happen. We all know that.
Well, there's talk about Ancelotti possibly leaving Bayern Munich in the summer, and he'd be a good manager for them, wouldn't he?
Ideal manager, no? Brilliant manager, Ancelotti.
There you go. Well, Spurs stepped up a gear at Goodison Park, trouncing their hosts 3-0, while at Turf Moor, Chris Wood's second goal in consecutive games for Burnley was the nail in the coffin for Frank de Boer's tenure as Crystal Palace boss. Now, there's something about de Boer and the number 4. It was his shirt number. It's the number of times he won Eredivisie as Ajax manager. It's also the number of months he lasted as Inter Milan boss, and now the number of matches he had as Palace boss. I think he should be called or renamed Frank the Four.
Yes.
Linton, what do you make of de Boer's sacking, and how have the Dutch media reacted to it, mate?
Yeah, maybe it was a little bit too soon. I think if you hire a manager like Frank de Boer, you know up front that he will bring a certain playing style with him that needs time for the team to adapt to, and at least longer than 4 games, especially after their performance against Burnley, because I think they really played good. They played strong. They had a lot of ball possession, a lot of successful passes, crosses, and created some good chances. But they didn't score, and of course they missed Saha up front. So maybe he deserved a little bit more time. But yeah, this is the modern world of football we're living in. If you play 4 games, if you lose 4 games and 0 points, 0 goals, that's killing for a manager these days.
It seems strange, the whole situation, because fair enough, we know that sacking a manager in England after 4 games is practically unheard of. On the one hand, have Crystal Palace panicked? Have they seen this poor run of form, no goals, just a style of football which obviously the players haven't bought into, and they thought, well, we're going to get relegated if we keep this guy in? But on the flip side, I'm thinking, is there something more to it? Because they didn't have a great transfer window. De Boer only brought in a couple of players. So he brought in Posthumus on loan and Riedewald from Ajax.
That's right.
That's pretty much it, isn't it? He didn't bring in any strikers. So effectively, they're just expecting Benteke to get all their goals.
Zaha's been injured as well, hasn't he?
Exactly. So the creativity's gone.
Did they buy Sacco?
The Sacco, yes,
Sacco.
a defender,
Yeah.
central defender. That's right. Yeah. So they bought 3 defenders in the summer. Is there something, Rod? Do you think there's something more in the background, mate? Because we've heard that.
I think there is. I think there's obviously between De Boer and Parish, but like Linton says, he's going to bring a certain style of play, and that style has to give time. But like Linton says again, it's we're in a business that if you can't be losing 4 games in a row, and if you've got owners that panic stations and have got some personal issues with the manager and don't like the way he works, then maybe if they had a better relationship, he would be still there. But obviously, they haven't got that relationship. If it's like, for say, an Alan Pardew relationship with Parish, because they seem to be friendly, I don't think he would have been sacked after 4 games. So, it's a difficult one for me. It's a poor decision from sacking him for who they're bringing in. They're just bringing in a dinosaur, and they've got rid of a young, successful player who will play the right way, and which a way that would need time. So they've just sacked him after 4 games, and they're going with the dinosaur.
The thing is, on the flip side, Rod, when you look at that Crystal Palace squad, when De Boer was offered the position, surely he'd have known the type of players that they have available. And looking at the way that he plays at Ajax and the traditional Ajax system, I don't know how many of those players can actually play in that system. Obviously, you've got your flair players like your Townsends and your Zahas are quick, and they're very good out wide. You've got Benteke, who's a big, strong striker, but all the other players, I don't see.
But that's where you've got to be a bit adaptable as a coach. If you've got your playing style, but have you got the personnel to play that style? Maybe not. So that's where he probably would have to adapt it a little, and wait until he's got the personnel to play that kind of style. Because I don't think it's the defeats to say, it's the defeats that who they've been beat off. They haven't scored a goal, and they're getting beat off teams that really will be down and there with them. So I think it's the teams that basically they've played against and just not even look like scoring. So
yeah, you're right.
I think they panic too much.
Yeah,
I think they panic so quickly. This is a manager that obviously everybody sat down on the board and said Frank de Boer's going to take us forward. They changed their opinions after 4 games. All right, the results have not been there. Yes, they haven't scored a goal, but when Scott Dan misses an open goal from 2 yards and they don't get a point, is that the manager's fault? If that goes in 1-1, all of a sudden it's a point. We've got something to build on. It's a different scenario. All right, again, ifs, but they sat down and gave this guy a 2-3 year contract. So obviously they saw something in him. To sack him after 4 games for me is ridiculous.
I know, but on the flip side, again, I think that it was too soon for De Boer to come into the job. I mean, we know that his tenure at Inter was a disaster.
Yeah, his reputation is gone as a manager,
exactly.
Isn't it, already?
Exactly. And that's a shame, because I remember 3-4 years ago, people were saying he could be the next Arsenal manager. He could take over Arsene Wenger. And now you're looking at him now, it's like, well, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? I think there's a fear that he will end up being one of those journeyman managers where he'll end up in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and
he's like a David Moyes now.
Yeah.
He will touch him.
He's the Dutch David Moyes.
That's right.
Effectively, he is. Linton, do you think his reputation is damaged? Do you think he can walk into another job in Holland?
In Holland, probably yes.
Yeah.
I don't see him return to Holland quite soon. Actually, you compare him with David Moyes, but I would compare him to Bert van Marwijk, who had a successful spell with the national team, and afterwards everybody expected him to go to a big European club, and he went to Germany, and he didn't succeed, and now he is in where he is, Saudi Arabia, I guess. So it's maybe he will go like the same path, because I don't see him going to a big European club at this point.
Yeah, he probably needs to stay out of the game for a couple of years just to get his confidence back, because
maybe learn the game a little bit more.
That's right.
As a manager, not as a player, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Roy Hodgson, he's replaced De Boer. I know you think he's a dinosaur, so I was going to ask you for your thoughts, but can he?
Not to say a dinosaur, but what their aspirations, Crystal Palace. Obviously, bringing Frank De Boer in, they've chosen him out of a 37 candidate list of names that they had, and after 4 games they've dismissed him. So they've obviously got aspirations to do well. What is Roy Hodgson going to bring to Crystal Palace? Stability. So they're just going to be an average, because we know all about Roy Hodgson. He's a steady Eddie, below mid-table side. Nothing more not extravagant. Very not easy on the eye to watch. I just think there's a lot more better options out there. They've just gone for the safe option because the amount of money that they'll lose if they get relegated.
Yeah. Well, apparently they approached Sam Allardyce
I was going to say, if they want to stay up, get him back.
They approached him and he said, no, thank you. So...
Yeah, but so you say that, but I was thinking about this yesterday when I was watching some of this on TV. I was thinking, maybe if if he had that chance for England, maybe he would have done better. But if he would have got a top job, I think he would have done okay because... And even if he comes in now with Crystal Palace, he's got that much time and he knows the players. He would do a much better job than Roy Hodgson. He's a much better coach, manager than Roy Hodgson, in my opinion.
No, I agree. The proof is in the pudding. We've seen what he did at Sunderland. We see what he did at Bolton.
Never been relegated as a manager. Yeah. Look at the clubs he's had and where they were as well.
There you go. But yeah, poor Sam. Oh, well, Spurs took Everton to score at the weekend. Are we seeing the after effects of Lukaku's departure? In my opinion, I think the longer Everton are in the Europa League, the longer they're going to struggle in the Premier League.
No, I agree. We've seen clubs, not disrespect Everton, play in the Europa League and struggle in the league. Lukaku was a target man. They don't have a target man now. Rooney's not a target man. Sandro Ramirez is not a target man. So... and the players that they brought in are, your Sigurdssons, your Claessens, they're all footballers. Rooney, they're footballers. They don't have the, let's hit the target man and play off him kind of thing. It's all kind of pretty. I think they'll struggle Everton this season. I really do. And, I know they got a good result against City away from home, but even City had 10 men and didn't even beat them. Yeah. And the fact Tottenham was another test, and Tottenham really outclassed them in every position. So... They've bought players, Everton, so they need time to gel as well. So you've got to give them a little bit of time.
See, that's the thing. When they sign players, people are saying, "Oh, they're really going to make a go of it." Do you know what I mean? No. But it's not a quantity; it's quality.
Absolutely. And let's face it, the reason why Rooney is at Everton is because he's not good enough for United no more. It's not that the fact they want to go back to Everton. So the caliber of players that they've signed. Sandro has come from Spain; he needs time. Claesen has come from Holland; he needs time.
Well, they're already getting on his back, apparently.
Yeah, well. Says it all, really, isn't it? So they need time to, like every team, the players need to gel and they need time. So maybe judge them maybe after 6 months, something like that.
But it's a strange one because obviously we saw what happened with Barkley.
That's a weird one. With Barkley, isn't it?
Yeah, went to Chelsea. Apparently, he's denying that he had a medical there, but. I think there's more to it. Another thing that's being swept under the carpet, unfortunately.
Well, the players that they bought. If you look at Rooney plays number 10, so does Barkley, you can say. Claesen plays there, so does Sigurdsson. Yeah. So they bought these players thinking Barkley's on his way. The fact that Barkley's actually still there, where they're going to accommodate him, or are they going to accommodate him at all?
We have a Dutch resident here with talking about a Dutch manager. Linton, what's going on with Ronald Koeman? Is he just putting all his eggs in one basket?
No, I don't believe so because Claesen he can also play as a 6 or as an 8, so he's multifunctional, and I think he will fit in great in England, and overall what we see here from Koeman is that he has a steady vision of the game, and I think he will get things going.
Turn it around. He'll turn it around. Right, gents, in other news, police were called at a Blackburn Central High School to break up a fight between officials and parents at an under-16 game. An argument between a player and a linesman led to 20-person brawl. 20 people. Mothers, kids, strange grandmothers, everything. Handbags everywhere. No arrests were made, and neither Globe Park FC or Tottington would comment on the matter. Something like this doesn't come as a surprise to me anyway. I mean, you look at the way youth football in the UK is disrespected by parents. What's your take on the incident? Rodri, start with you, mate.
It's just pretty sad, isn't it? It's just the most of them, from my experience, you don't really get it at well-established clubs like academies. They just don't put up with it, so they just throw you out. But obviously, you're going to get it with these type of sides. And it's mostly just families just desperate for the kids to be footballers and just egging them on and then they just that's, and it just spills over and then like
he's gone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, here you go.
It's like just what happened there. There's a brawl, so it's just a bit embarrassing. But like I say, it's mostly through the parents try to put pressure on the children to be footballers, and it just all spills over. They're giving the referees stick. They're giving the other players stick. It's just quite embarrassing, but unfortunately, it goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think it happens that often in the Netherlands, does it, Linton? Because as far as I'm aware, they educate the kids, not just tactically, technically, but also in terms of a discipline side. That's right, isn't it?
Actually, we had here a couple of years a brawl at the junior game, amateur game, where they attacked a linesman and they kicked him to death. So
Wow.
it does happen here in the Netherlands, and I think it happens maybe not in every country, but I think you see these types of things throughout the whole world, because it's in my opinion a reflection of the changing norms and values in the whole world. Younger kids, they have a big mouth, and they don't have any respect for officials and things like that, and yeah, then you get things like this. So I think it's a reflection of the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm. So, as an agent yourself, mate, what do you look for in a footballer when you look at their personality as well as their ability? Because if you got a youngster that you want to sign up and you see that they've got a bit of an attitude problem, would that be something that would deter you from signing them?
That's a hard one, because if a kid has a lot of talent, you want to help him and to get him mentally ready. But it depends. Some players, they have quality, but they don't have the mentality yet to develop themselves. And if you approach them on a different way, maybe you can make them aware and change them. But it depends.
It helps. It helps if they've had good schooling and good upbringing. There's half the battle. But if they've not, you've got a little bit more work to do. But if they've had a good upbringing and been brought up the right way, usually you don't have a problem with them.
No, exactly. But there are a lot of kids from the Amsterdam area. We have the Belmer. A lot of guys come from there, like Edgar Davids, Seedorf, Kluivert. All these guys grew up there, and they have talent, but there's a lot of criminality, and a lot of families are living only with their mother. So they're brought up different, and sometimes these guys, they need a father figure or somebody to teach them certain things, certain norms and values, and they still have the talent. So if they have the talent, I think I wouldn't let them go because of that. I think I would try to help them and to change them.
I think it's different these days, though. I think the mentality of kids now just want to be footballers because of the money. I don't think most of them even love the game anymore. Me personally, growing up, I didn't care if I played for free, to be honest. I'd pay the teams to play. That's how much love I had for the game. I think these days, because of the money that's in football, everyone wants to be a footballer, but not for the right reasons. That's why attitude comes into it, because of the money.
Yeah,
that's me personally.
Well, look, I've played a few Sunday League games or whatnot, and I've seen what happens off the pitch, especially with managers. But to have parents and under 16 game getting involved in that capacity and taking things to that level, I mean, as I said, 20 people got involved in this. It wasn't 3 or 4, 20.
Shocking.
It's just pathetic. It really is pathetic. And the thing is, there isn't really anything you can do about it, because it costs money to have the police there. It costs money to have like a security team there. And it just spills over. Have you seen anything like it?
In Cyprus, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says it all. Yeah, but I have seen it.
There you go.
More than 20 people.
Yeah. Right. Okay, well, let's stay in the Mediterranean, shall we? And Serie A, Ivan Perisic scored one of the goals of the season for Inter, while big spending rivals Milan suffered the 4-1 loss at Lazio. There's a player called Immobile, who you know quite well. Not on a personal level, but he bagged a hat-trick at the Stadio Olimpico. His career took a bit of a nosedive when he joined Dortmund, but he seems to be back on track at Lazio. Good player, isn't he?
I rate him.
Yeah,
I do. Proper striker, Immobile. Scores goals left foot, right foot, penalties, can take free kicks. He's quick. Immobile was confidence, like you said. He went to Dortmund, and it seems like everybody that goes to Dortmund, their careers get shattered there, to be honest. I don't know if it's a club that, is a jinx or something. I'm not sure, but, it seems like quite a few players going to Dortmund doesn't work out for them. But, yeah, since he's been a revelation since he's gone to Lazio a couple of years now. He had a stint at Sevilla as well.
That's right.
Did okay, but yeah, like you said, he's resurrected his career back at Lazio and back into the Italian fold as well. Plays up front with Belotti. So, yeah, good signs for him. I do rate him.
There you go. Yeah. Wonderful. Great analysis there. Thank you very much. Right. Let's talk about the Champions League then, because it's Tuesday night. We've seen the first round, I guess, the first half of the first round. And Linton, you watched the Barcelona game where they absolutely tore Juventus apart, beat them 4-0. It wasn't one way until, well, in fact, it wasn't one way until Barcelona scored the first goal, was it? I know Juventus had a couple of chances before Barca took the lead, but after that, it was just one way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. In the first half, what I noticed, they really forced Messi into ball possession. Even around the half line. But after he scored, he was loose, and Dembele, he was like a fish in the water. He fits in the team, of course. He needs a little bit time to adapt, but you see that he feels comfortable. So I think it's a good replacement of Neymar, and they destroyed Juventus in the end.
And Messi finally scored against Buffon.
Yeah. He didn't score for a lot. He actually never scored against Buffon, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
First time tonight.
Yeah, and he also hit the post another time. So he did good.
That's right. And Celtic, they suffered their biggest ever defeat in the Champions League, 5-0, home to PSG. They looked good, didn't they?
They did. I mean, we were watching United, so we didn't actually see a lot of the highlights of PSG. But the goals that we saw, listen, PSG attacking wise, they're always going to be a threat to anybody, and they are a threat this year for the Champions League. I think if they get it defensively right, I don't think defensively that they're good at all, and they'll be tested against the bigger clubs. In France, they won't be tested, but in the Champions League, they will. And it seems like Celtic always get a spanking in the Champions League by somebody every year. Was it 7-1? Barcelona last 7-0, 7-1. And now this year already a spanking by PSG. It's the level, isn't it? It's scary to think that Celtic can win the league by 30 points in Scotland and get hammered in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So,
but don't you think the manager's got a lot to answer to? Because we hear this every season. In fact, I know it's only his second season, but Brendan Rodgers has got this habit of coming out with a lot of sound bites. And he was saying before this game, saying, we're going to press them high, which they did in the first 4 or 5 minutes. But then PSG sussed them out and they did not have a plan B. And that was the same issue that he had at Swansea, at Liverpool, and now at Celtic. Brendan Rodgers has never had a plan B for anything. And I just think that tonight, the moment Paris Saint-Germain sussed out what Celtic were doing, it was easy. Yeah. It was like a hot knife through butter. Every time they went forward, you thought there was going to be a goal.
The thing is, he's got to come out and say the right things, hasn't he? He's got to motivate his players. He's got to try and, get the best out of them. He knows that the class between Celtic and everybody else is not there. So he's got to try every tactic, every kind of motivational speech to try and get the players to raise their game, I guess. But, when you're playing against Neymar and Cavani and everybody else, then you don't really stand a chance, to be fair.
Exactly. And you mentioned United earlier. Rodri, United got a good win tonight, 3-0. It was a bit tricky at the beginning, but then Fellaini comes on for Pogba and he changes the game. Not for the first time.
Yeah, he's, I think he's got this monkey on his back that, he's not a United player and all that. And I would have been one of them, but since Mourinho's come in, he's been brilliant. He's been a revelation. So, I was watching Steven Gerrard talk about him before, but when he played up top or just off the front man and he get the ball into his chest, he was a real handful. And every time he's come on or he's played, he's been a real handful this season and the season before. So, good luck to him. And I know he's not so-called a United player, but he's been fantastic since Mourinho got in. So I hope it continues.
That's right. I mean, there was goals everywhere. You know, as I mentioned, Barcelona won 3-0, Paris Saint-Germain 5-0, United 3-0, Bayern Munich won 3-0 against Anderlecht.
Sporting beat Olympiacos 3-2.
Yeah, I think they scored in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Sporting. But probably the shock of the night was CSKA Moscow, who never keep clean sheets. I know they didn't keep one tonight, but they beat Benfica on their own patch. Now, Benfica are a half-decent team. What is going on at CSKA Moscow? We saw the highlights. We saw the debatable penalty. But Benfica just did not look at the races today. They struggled at the weekend as well, didn't they?
They did. Just about one with 10 men. The other team had Portimonense, I think it was, in Portugal.
And they needed a VAR.
Yeah, at the end, that's right. Well, they sold Ederson.
Yep.
Sold Lindelof. I know Mitroglou's been injured as well. So
he's gone to Marseille.
It's Marseille. But he's been injured as well. So, they got Seferovic to replace. I think he scored tonight as well, Seferovic. The thing with Benfica and a lot of Portuguese clubs, they recruit well once they sell well.
Yeah.
It seems Benfica haven't done that this year. And I think Sporting Lisbon are even a threat to them and Porto this year for the league title. So, I don't know. It's one of them shock results. I mean, they're in United's group as well, so I guess it's a good result for United.
It is indeed.
To be fair.
It is indeed. And tomorrow, big games. City got Feyenoord. Linton, how do you reckon that's going to go? Because we saw City take Liverpool apart. Is it going to be much of the same?
Yeah, I think it will be difficult for Feyenoord. You know, of course they had a great season last season, but you know, I have to see how they keep up in Europe. But you know, like I said, I think they will have it difficult against a side like City. I don't see them keep up, but you know, you never know. We'll see. But it will be difficult, I guess.
Yeah, always tends to be. And Liverpool, they got tomorrow. They got Sevilla. Yeah,
they'll beat Sevilla tomorrow.
Yeah,
yeah, I think.
Because it is in the final. Gonna get pelters for that. Yeah. It's bound to happen.
I can see the comments already.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously, you know, you got other games where you got Shakhtar Napoli. That should be a good one.
Should be a good game. Shakhtar got a good record at home. They hardly lose there. So
they got a new stadium, haven't they?
Yeah.
But it's like 300 miles away or something ridiculous like that. You got Porto Besiktas, Leipzig, Monaco. That'd be a good game.
That'd be good. Apoel are going to go and beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, Apoel, Real Madrid, and Spurs against Dortmund.
That's probably the game of the night for me. Attacking football.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be a good game.
What, with the Wembley hoodoo?
Tottenham are going to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think so.
No.
I think boss. We have a Dutch manager in Dortmund, so
he's been biased.
Of course. There you go, Rod. Do you reckon Spurs are going to win at Wembley?
No, 1-1.
There you go.
I think we'll have to talk about this next week.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Harry Kane to score first. Tottenham to win 2-1.
I think they'll win tomorrow. Under the lights, Wembley. Yeah, I think it'd be a good night tomorrow for him.
He's going with the cliches now. Under the lights. They don't have it at White Hart Lane anymore, mate. So right. Well, that's it for our show tonight, gents. It's been great having you guys on. Sorry for the technical difficulty. You got to blame EE, who actually sponsored Wembley Stadium. There you go. There you go. So Linton, great to have you on, mate. How can our listeners get in contact with you? Do you have a Twitter account? Do you have anything social media-wise?
Yeah, I have Instagram, Linton Jason. My Twitter is also Linton Jason, and you can find me on Facebook, Linton Jason Posthumus.
Just in case you didn't know the first time. Well, it's been great having you on the show, mate. Great to have you on. Rod.
Thanks for having me.
No, pleasure. Rod, great to have you back on again, mate. Sorry I'd like to apologise in advance for London, actually, because you had a bit of a nightmare getting down.
Yeah, nightmare getting down. The gravy's like piss. So, no, good to get back. Nice thick stern gravy.
Yeah. Was it chips and gravy up north, isn't it?
Chips, peas, pudding, gravy, yeah.
So, Linton, what's a Dutch delicacy? It's not waffles that we're led to believe in Goldmember, is it?
No, it's haring.
What's that?
I don't know how I translate it. It's like raw fish with onions.
Okay.
And they slip it in their mouth like this. But I've never tasted it in my life. I don't like it. But it's like that's typical Dutch haring.
Right.
I'll tell
You
you
should
what.
Google it. You should Google it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I went to Amsterdam many moons ago for business. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say because I'm live. So yeah, there's a shop called Fibo. It wasn't actually a shop. It was like a whole bunch of like microwave looking things, and you put like €1 in, and it's got like a burger in it and all sorts of. It was rank. It's something that you expect to eat when you're drunk or stoned. It's bad, but at the time you're like, well, I'll eat anything kind of thing. But,
yeah. That's typical Dutch. Fabo is typical Dutch. Typical Dutch.
I'm sorry if I've offended most of the Netherlands. Please don't kill me. Do you know, funny, you know what? I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Why orange? What's so special about orange? Why do the Dutch associate everything with orange?
Because it's in the national anthem, and they have the last name is like Prince Willem from Orange, from Oranje. So it's a historical thing.
Yeah, free history lesson as well. You get that. You get us talking rubbish about football. We've got experts talking about Dutch history and gravy.
I have to rattle it up, but I think that's the reason.
I was about to ask you what the most disgusting thing you ever had in your mouth, but I'm not going to go there.
Are we still live?
Of course we're live. Of course we're live. We haven't stopped broadcast yet. Look, the viewers are going up now. I'm just letting you.
Trying to think what you're implying.
I'm not implying anything.
Right,
honestly,
okay.
I've got no problems with this guy. It's just different. That's all. Have you ever eaten Fibo or anything like that?
No, and I'm not going to either. To be fair, no offense to you guys, but.
Well, yeah. I think we should wrap it up, shouldn't we? Yeah, great stuff. Right. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us on the show. Rod, do you want to tell us your Twitter handle?
Yeah, it's Rod James Giggs.
Excellent. You?
Yannickis J.
That's it. Wonderful. Yeah. Right, we're on Twitter at Shoot the Defense. We have a Facebook group page. Feel free to join. We have a Facebook like page. Like it, jump on. There's a whole load of posts, previous shows, all that kind of stuff. We've got the interview with Linton's client, Quentin Montes. That's from Yokohama Marinos. He played in the Gold Cup as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he played. He played Mexico, and they played El Salvador. But it was difficult for them. First time they qualified for the Gold Cup, but it's a small football nation, so it was a good experience.
There you go. Wonderful. Well, that's it from us this week. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in and everyone that's listening on the download. Yeah, it's great being back on because we missed the international week deliberately because my views on international. We're not going to talk about international football. Nah. Only when Wales do well, because that's when Rodri's really on a high, like he was at the Euros.
Well, they did well, didn't they? 2 wins.
Who am I going to talk about it?
Yeah, but it's Rodri. We're allowed.
Right, we're gone. Goodbye.